lot of people were surprised to find that Disney Plus has removed most of the Indiana Jones movies that were made by Lucasfilm, the company that has the rights to make even more Indiana Jones films. Well, that's not the only thing that's disappeared from Disney Plus. There are now original projects that are disappearing with no one being notified. We've got confirmation from one of our sources that tells us why Bob Iger directly told them to pull other series. Let's talk about the fact that Disney Plus has almost no content on it. We'll come with the data here on That Park Place. Hello, I am Jonas J. Campbell, an investigative reporter for That Park Place, and here with me is a Disney Plus watcher, Mr. VashSky. Actually, I know that's not true, because the data I showed you before we started this video, I think it actually surprised you a little bit.
It did surprise me a little bit. We'll go into that data and what that is. But you know what most surprised me, Jonas? I was one of those ones that was kind of surprised that Indiana Jones would be removed from the platform in the way that it was, because I had thought that they dealt with those issues with Paramount in order to get those rights in perpetuity, especially with them leaning so hard to the franchise in the lead up to Dial of Destiny.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Now, when Disney bought Star Wars, they did not buy the rights to all of Star Wars, which is a funny thing to say. They bought the right to make more Star Wars films, and they bought the rights that Lucasfilm still held of Star Wars. But there were things missing, like, for instance, they didn't actually have the rights to the original Star Wars, otherwise known as A New Hope. Those still were held with Fox at the time. They also didn't hold the physical media rights to the first three films. They only had the digital media rights to Empire Strikes Back onwards. Those were all with Lucasfilm, and therefore were purchased by the company. So the rights to Star Wars were not cleared up until Disney bought Fox for $70 billion, which is quite the high price to pay when those are the things that you are after. They also bought the X-Men, which, look at all those X-Men films they're making all that money off of. Oh, wait, they've only released one since they bought Fox, and who knows how successful they'll be once they aren't able to use Hugh Jackman for those. But the thing we want to talk about to start, because there is a lot more to this story, because other shows are disappearing, perhaps going the way of Willow. Vash, you've got this one. All of Spielberg's Indiana Jones movies removed from Disney Plus worldwide. That would be the four, right?
Yes, that would be the four. That would be the first, Raiders of the Lost Ark, or Indiana Jones and Raiders of the Lost Ark, depending on what you want to use there. Indiana Jones Temple of Doom and Indiana Jones Last Crusade, along with, the fourth that shall not be done. No, it's fine. The Kingdom of the Crystal Skull as well. I also noticed as well that Young Indiana Jones had been removed from the platform within the last couple of years.
Yeah, and that's a funny thing. Young Indiana Jones Chronicles, it was on there when Dial of Destiny hit, but Young Indiana Jones Chronicles is kind of an odd one. I think they wanted the headline that you could watch it, but there's also pretty early on in that series, there's an actor, and I'm not even going to say the name of the actor that was in that show, that he's a white British actor, and he disguises himself as an Arab for part of the series. And then Indiana Jones also uses that same facial toning to disguise himself as an Arab, and that's what gets him into the slave trade, accidentally, a victim of the slave trade for part of that episode. So, there's some problematic content that I don't care that it's there. It's a product of its time. I'm not endorsing anyone going out and making anything on the lines of It's Sunny in Philadelphia. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia's Lethal Weapon parodies there. If anyone knows what I'm talking about here. Yeah. Anyways, makeup questions notwithstanding. Yeah, the good Indiana Jones films are no longer on Disney Plus. I think everybody thought this was a rights issue, but I kind of knew it wasn't going to turn out the way that people were calling it. Raiders of the Lost Ark, by the way, is over on Amazon Prime right now, and I think most of the Indiana Jones films are over on Amazon Prime. So it's not like you really have to go that far to get them. Paramount are the people who have the rights to Indiana Jones at this point, which, that's not really a problem. You can go watch these. They aren't disappeared. You could go buy them in 4K, which I think is the better long-term investment. But that money still goes to Paramount, Lucasfilm, Steven Spielberg, all of that. But that's not the only thing that's disappeared from Disney Plus. And it looks like something recently got willowed. This is a show called Haley's on It, and I'm gonna tell you what this show is about, and you might begin to understand why it didn't quite connect with that Disney audience right here. Haley's on It, removed from Disney Plus worldwide due to unknown reasons. We know the reasons, by the way. We have from a source why this was removed. Fans of the Disney Channel animated series Haley's on It are discovering that the series is no longer accessible on Disney Plus for viewing alongside the Disney Channel live-action Discoms Pretty Freaking Scary and Saturdays and multiple National Geographic documentaries. Interesting. I didn't know that those other ones got pulled. The reason of the removal is unknown. Is it an error, a bug? Who knows? Disney stated that no more removal of content would happen after the first purge in March of 2023. That was when $1.5 to $2 billion worth of content from Disney Plus was removed in favor of a tax write-off. Interesting. Started last Wednesday as fans noticed the videos from Disney Channel EMEA were privatized along with being removed early in places like Turkey, Spain, and the UK. You can still, by the way, if you're a Haley's on It fan and you're watching right now, do not worry. This show where Haley tries to solve all the issues of the world, including climate change, starring America Ferrara as the voice of Haley, as if there's another name it could be here. You can still see that on Disney Now, which you have access to if you have a Disney Channel cable subscription with an appropriate provider there. You can still watch it through, sounds like the end of November, maybe just until November. And there are episodes on Disney's YouTube page. Oh, and looks like that. Additionally, How Not to Draw Short themed around the series is set to debut this year. Here's one. The decision to pull Haley's on It from Disney Plus is a strange one, as characters from the show also appear in recent short form series Disney Road Trip on Disney Channel, and the series also recently won a GLAAD Award for Outstanding Kids and Family Programming. GLAAD Award is the Gay Lesbian Alliance for Anti-Defamation or something like that. So yet to be seen whether or not they're going to take a tax write-off on that show. But I do have a source that reached out and through Master of the TDS, and it's an anonymous source, but I do trust this source. But take this with a grain of salt, that Bob Iger himself was the one who approved the removal of Haley's on It. And he did so because the cost of keeping the show on the platform was more than they were making on the show being on the platform. I'm just going to take this moment to remind everyone that Disney Plus is an ad-supported platform at this point. Not fully ad-supported, but this show probably wasn't moving much in the ratings. I don't know if they're talking about the electricity of maintaining the server that has this on the hard drive and accessible to everyone. I don't know if it's that low. I don't know if there are payments to the cast of the show that have to be made on a regular basis just for the show merely existing. But Disney Plus and Disney and Bob Iger himself, apparently, according to this rumor, if you believe it, there's your salt right there, say that it's not worth keeping this on the platform, as well as those other shows, Pretty Freaking Scary and Saturdays. I only hope that someone out there, maybe a handsome guy in a button-up suit that resembles Obi-Wan Kenobi, might have a copy of this for review to find out what exactly is in that show, perhaps for an episode of Everything Woke About. Vash, how much of this platform is doomed?
All of it? I mean, just imagine, Jonas, you bankroll a show like this in order to, reap the benefits of it in perpetuity. And yet you've constructed something that should be just live eternally on some hard drive somewhere, like you eloquently pointed out right there. But the costs to actually maintain it on said server platform hard drive outweigh the benefits that you reap from it. That is absolutely wild right there. And we've seen this with a number of programming, Willow being the most notable of the recent examples, but also too, a lot of people are suspecting this with Acolyte because, wow, they spend a ton of money bringing that into the fold there. And well, people are wondering whether or not the tax write-off might be something that they might employ with that show. We'll have to see on that. But it really does point to the fact that Disney Plus, the biggest problem that it has right now is that it has a whole bunch of stuff that people don't want to watch. and is, even when people do want to watch specific content, they can't keep it on, like in the case of Indiana Jones, and they won't put stuff on that people do want to see. There's a plethora of vaulted content that isn't on the platform currently. It's the craziest mix of undesirable content for this platform.
And I'll also add
so
that in this case, that means that essentially no one was watching it, because if someone runs ads against that content, it should mean that it is paid for itself if anyone was watching it. Disney is also doing this fast channel approach where they'll put something like a cable channel on Disney Plus, or like a broadcast channel, where Disney gets to put that in the middle of the lineup. So it essentially means they have no faith that they can put this in the middle of that lineup and say, yeah, for 20 minutes, 22 minutes, we're going to show this, also some ads along with it. They have no faith that people are going to stick around for that. Meanwhile, Disney Plus essentially has no content coming out on it. This is something that I've been saying over and over again. And I've just decided I'm going to bring this up so that you can all see. This is everything released on Disney Plus since September 4th, right here. Let's see, Because of Winn-Dixie, that's an older film. I don't know what Spookies is. Some shorts from Big City Greens. Agatha All Along obviously had several episodes that they're saying that was one of the cheaper series that Marvel ever made, but we'll see. Let's see, A Season of The Simpsons finally hit Disney Plus. Don't know why that's not on Hulu. Probably the biggest release on the platform right now is Inside Out 2, and that is going to dominate the platform, hopefully, for a little while. But this is everything that was released on Disney Plus for the last month or so. And a lot of this is National Geographic content. Some of it very sparse. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 8 to 9 things that are actually a Disney, Marvel, Star Wars, anything like that. Now, this is essentially nothing coming out on this platform that is being touted as the future of the company. When they talk about streaming figures, they are incredibly focused on Disney Plus. I want to show a contrast here. Vash, first of all, you can repeat what you said before we started this here. This is not much content.
No, it's incredibly sparse. I was actually surprised when looking at this for the first time. I was going, "Oh, there is nothing coming out," and especially nothing coming out that people would actually want to view. That was the most surprising thing. It's one thing if you have hit after hit after hit, but in limited quantities that could actually work out. But besides Inside Out 2, there is nothing on that list, Jonas, that I would ever pick up Disney Plus to actually see.
Right. When the second thing that you might watch is Agatha All Along, you've got problems as a streaming service. Just for some insight here, this is what Hulu looks like right now. And Hulu, up until recently, was a joint venture between the Walt Disney Company and other streaming services, obviously served by the content they were putting on linear television here. There's a lot of content coming out. Oh, look, there's putting some AMC shows on there as well. Now, this isn't necessarily enough content to keep all of these streaming services fully afloat, but I did want to give reference here to another Disney streaming service before I point out what some of the competitors are doing. Let's see, September 29th, we've got a longer one here. Nope, there's not much to add in here. Let's see, this one has some Halloween releases. Oh, look, Pirates of the Caribbean releasing on the non-Disney branded side of the website. Yep, finally, right here, we have a bunch of stuff that is, Coco. Look at that, Coco coming out on Hulu instead of Disney Plus. By the way, I bet they'll make more money on Hulu than they do on Disney Plus. Finally, some content here. But there might be a few more of those that function like that. Again, reminding everyone that Hulu and Disney Plus similarly priced, and the stated intent here is to slice the face off of Disney Plus and then slap that thing right on top of Hulu and pretend like they were profitable all along. For reference, here is Max, which is not necessarily doing fantastic as a streaming service, but it has more than Disney Plus, a bunch of Scooby-Doo content being put on there. Not necessarily the hottest right now, but it's got more content than Disney Plus, and a few names you might even recognize here. Actually, Corpse Bride, I do believe that is a Fox film right there. Or maybe that's actually Disney owned content there, but plenty of content. The thing that I wanted to point out here is if we look at Netflix, this is almost every day. This is September 4th, September 5th, 6th, 8th, 9th. You don't go very long without a huge drop of content onto Netflix. And they're trying to go for Netflix money over there at Disney Plus, and they're trying to market themselves as a premium product. You see how much I'm having to scroll even now to try to get up to the point where I can show you just how much content dropped on September the 30th. We have stuff, Yellow Jackets, I believe that's a Showtime series, and it just goes on and on and on and on. The content that is coming out on, I mean, this is almost comical here, how much content is showing up on Netflix compared to, again, going back to Disney Plus, nothing. And by the way, this is all these seasons of one show broken out here. So if you like Life Before Zero and you don't already own it, well, Disney Plus is the place that you would go to watch. Looks like the later 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6 seasons of Life Before Zero. So this is not a healthy streaming service.
No, not at all. And remember, this is supposed to be the future of the entire company. The thing that has taken, what, $100 billion over that to bring to fruition. And yet we have almost nothing to show for it. And even the assets that we did acquire in that big $70 billion purchase, those assets, we're still paying, or we're still determining a price for the rest of those assets in the form of Hulu and the rights that they share with Comcast there. So it is, one, you can see why Disney wants Hulu so badly, because it really is the I would say the content driver for a multitude of platinums under the Disney banner. But two, it just shows how failing of a streaming service Disney Plus actually is.
I totally agree. The thing that I see here, Hulu is the future of the company. And again, they're going to try to pretend like it's been Hulu and Disney Plus all along. What's more evident here in that is that in the SEC filings of the Disney company, Disney is doing what they do with theatrical releases. They're refusing to admit how much money they actually made once you take out expenses on here. Disney Plus and Hulu are reported together as a single combined DTC on the SEC filings for the Disney company. So we do not know how much Disney Plus has actually lost, because now they've separated operating loss out. So they are hiding this from investors. And I frankly think that's immoral at this point, and investors should hold Disney to account for that. But Hulu profitable, Disney Plus not. And when you combine them together, it was still enough to drag Disney Plus down. Enough to drag Hulu down on the most recent quarter, to where Disney had to say, oh, well, ESPN Plus, when we combined that in a mysterious, I don't know, $60 million that showed up in ESPN Plus's quarterly results, that was enough to get Disney up to, I don't know, 16, maybe 19 million with an M in profit on a streaming service that costs billions a quarter to run. Again, billions of dollars in revenue that only amounts to millions of dollars in profit. This is untenable, and Disney needs to do something to fix this. So, we started this video talking about how Disney is removing, they don't have Indiana Jones anymore, but Disney is not the place that I go to for Indiana Jones content. It's not been great over there. We also talked about the fact that they are removing content from Disney Plus. I would argue that Disney Plus has actually done more brand damage to Disney than anything else that the Disney company has done at this point. So it is killing the company financially, marketing wise, and everything else. And they're still refusing to admit what they have done at this point. Bob Iger, what are you doing? Why don't you pick someone just like you, but perhaps a girl, a blonde, to run the company for you at this point? I think that's going to fix the problem. Anyways, Vash, you have anything you want to say before we wrap this up?
I get sad when thinking about it, because I think about all of that money that could have been spent anywhere else. I think about the parks and how they're just dying on the vine. I think about their linear television assets and how they're just, crumbling right before their eyes. Something that used to bring in billions of dollars per year for the Walt Disney Company, and yet the aftermarket sales of films, right? When it comes to linear revenue or physical copies and so forth, all of that cannibalized for this streaming service, and yet it is the bane of the company's existence. And I don't know, it might end up taking them down. I'm not sure, but it really is demonstrable to see with what you presented here, Jonas, just how bad it all really is.
Agreed. All right. If any of you is watching this video to find out what content to watch on Disney Plus, I am sorry. You probably should just go buy it on physical media. Honestly, that's the best way to do it. Maybe even buy one of those newfangled Blu-ray players that you can have it, you can own it, and they can never take that away from you. Well, it still could get broken. There is such a thing as disc rot. Sorry about that. That being said, let us know your thoughts in the comment section down below. We'd love to read them. Like this video if you want to help out the channel, and consider subscribing to That Park Plays for all the news that should be fun.
Thanks for watching That Park Plays News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media accounts.